move your finger again. Before you decide this is just another message, hear me for 1 minute, because what I am about to say cannot wait. There have been many voices around you today, many sounds pulling your attention in different directions, many thoughts crowding your heart before you even understood why your spirit felt so tired. Yet among all those voices, I have chosen this exact moment to speak where you cannot say it happened by chance. I know how quickly your mind moves, how easily your attention is stolen by what feels urgent, by what appears important, by what demands your eyes even when your soul remains empty afterward. But I tell you now, this moment carries something heavier than distraction and deeper than ordinary words, because while you were moving through your day believing nothing unusual was happening, I had already prepared this meeting between my heart and yours. I did not call you here to entertain your mind for a few seconds and then let you continue unchanged. I stopped you because something inside you has been quietly asking questions you have not spoken aloud, and today I refuse to let those questions remain unanswered. I know you almost moved away. I know part of you thought this could wait. But there are moments that should not be delayed, and this is one of them, because what I am placing before you now is not random language, not passing emotion, but a word arranged with care for the exact condition of your soul. You were not brought here by accident. I arranged this exact second before you were born because today I must remind you of something you have forgotten. Before this day had a date, before your eyes learned how to recognize light, before anyone around you ever imagined the shape of your future, I had already marked this hour with purpose. You think many things happen because of ordinary timing, but there are moments I set aside long before you understand their meaning, and this is one of them. There are reminders I wait to release until the heart is tired enough to listen deeply, until disappointment has softened pride, until silence has created enough room for truth to finally enter. You have been carrying thoughts that have quietly pushed my truth to the edges of your attention. You remembered pain more easily than promise. You remembered delay more easily than purpose. You remembered what others failed to give you more clearly than what I have never stopped giving you. So today I speak because forgetting who you are has been costing you peace, and forgetting how closely I have remained has been feeding fears that were never meant to rule you. I arranged this second because heaven does not waste timing, and I do not interrupt without reason. Am I not worth 1 minute of your attention after all the nights I stayed near you when no one knew you were breaking? There were nights when you looked calm to everyone else while your thoughts were falling apart inside. There were moments when your face carried silence but your heart carried noise that nobody heard. I was there when you lay awake with questions you did not know how to explain. I stayed when others slept, when conversations ended, when messages stopped coming, when you felt the room around you grow quiet enough for your hidden pain to become loud. I watched every breath you took while trying not to cry too hard. I heard the words you never formed because even speaking them felt too heavy. I remained beside you when you doubted whether anyone truly understood how tired you had become. So I ask you gently now, after all the nights my presence stayed close even when you did not recognize it, can you not stay here for 1 minute and listen while I answer what your tears have already said to me many times? I have never measured your worth by how strong you looked in front of others. I have always listened beneath appearances, beneath forced smiles, beneath delayed responses, beneath the moments you told yourself to keep going while your heart begged for relief. Before your mother ever heard your heartbeat, I've already spoke your name in heaven. Before your existence had form on earth, your identity already lived in my knowing. Before anyone chose expectations for you, before family history touched you, before the world placed pressure on you, before mistakes and memories gathered around your life, I knew you completely. Your beginning did not start when human eyes first saw you. Your beginning was held inside my intention before time taught you fear. I spoke your name where eternity hears clearly, and I did not speak it with uncertainty. I spoke it with love, with purpose, with full awareness of every season you would pass through and every place where you would one day need this reminder. Nothing about you surprised me later. Not your weakness, not your confusion, not the moments when you questioned your own value. I knew the chapters you would struggle through, and still I called you into life. I did not hesitate when I formed your story, because purpose existed before pain ever arrived. Your name was written where no darkness can erase it, and yet you still question if you matter to me. Darkness has tried to teach you that what hurt deeply must also define deeply, but pain has never had authority to rewrite what I established. The failures you remember cannot remove what heaven recorded. The moments you regret cannot erase what my love decided long ago. There are days when your own thoughts speak against you with such force that you begin believing distance where there is none, rejection where there is none, abandonment where there is none. But your identity has never depended on the changing condition of your emotions. What I wrote about you remains untouched by the shadows that pass through your life. Even now, while you wonder whether you still matter after certain disappointments, I am telling you clearly that your value has not moved. Heaven does not revise love every time you feel weak. Heaven does not cross out names because a season became difficult. Type Jesus, I desperately need you if you know he's your only true answer. Do not scroll away now, because what you skip today may be the answer you begged me for in secret. You have prayed quietly for clarity, for peace, for understanding, for some sign that I still see the details nobody else notices. Sometimes you ask with words, sometimes only with tears, sometimes only with tired silence that carried longing deeper than speech. And now that I answer, do not let habit move you away too quickly. Many people ask for direction but struggle to remain still when direction arrives softly. Many ask for reassurance but miss it because it does not come wrapped in dramatic signs. Yet I often answer through moments that seem ordinary until the heart listens carefully. Stay because the answer you thought would arrive another way may already be speaking now. Something has already begun shifting around you, and if you ignore this moment, you may miss why your spirit has been restless. You have sensed changes you could not explain clearly. Some things no longer satisfy you the way they once did. Some thoughts return more often than before. Some emotions rise without clear reason. That restlessness has not been meaningless. It is often in such moments that I begin moving beneath what you can immediately understand. I allow certain comforts to lose their hold so your attention can return to what matters deeply. Not every discomfort is punishment. Sometimes it is preparation. Sometimes it is the quiet signal that one season inside you is ending while another is beginning. I have watched your silent tears, your hidden disappointment, your private questions, and today I am answering. I saw the moments you quickly wiped your face before anyone noticed. I saw the times disappointment settled inside you while you still spoke as though everything was fine. I heard the private questions you never trusted others enough to ask aloud. Questions about why some doors closed, why some people changed, why some prayers seemed delayed, why strength sometimes felt harder to find. None of those moments escaped me. Silence does not hide pain from me. Quiet suffering is still fully visible in my sight. And because I saw it all, I speak now not as someone distant from your struggle, but as the one who remained present through every hidden moment. This is not for everyone. Many will pass by, but you remain because this word carries your name. Many will hear similar words and move quickly because they are not listening with the same hunger your spirit carries right now. But you remain because something inside you recognizes that this moment touches a place you have not fully explained even to yourself. There is a reason certain words feel heavier when they reach you. There is a reason your attention stayed when it could have moved elsewhere. Your spirit knows when truth arrives near a wound that needs light. Stay until the end, because the last part of what I tell you will explain why your recent pain was allowed. Not every answer comes at the first sentence. Some truths must unfold slowly because hearts understand deeply only when they remain present long enough for meaning to settle. What has hurt you recently has made you ask questions that deserve honest light, and I will not leave those questions untouched. Remain here, because before this moment ends, I want you to understand that even what wounded you has not escaped purpose, and even what confused you has not removed my hand from your life. My child, this exact moment did not arrive by accident, and it did not appear before your eyes because of ordinary timing. Before you touched this screen, before you paused to hear, before your mind even decided whether to stay or move away, I had already arranged this meeting with precision that reaches far beyond what you can see. I know how easily you call things coincidence when you do not yet understand how carefully I move through the hidden spaces of your day. I know how often you think something simply appears because you happen to be present when it arrived. Yet I tell you now with tenderness and authority that I do not speak without purpose, and I do not interrupt your attention without reason. There are countless moments in a single day that pass without carrying eternal weight, but there are also moments chosen long before they happen, moments prepared in silence, moments heaven watches closely because they contain something your heart urgently needs. This is one of those moments. You may have believed you were simply moving through another ordinary minute, another ordinary pause, another ordinary piece of content placed before you among many others. But this minute carries more than you understand right now because I chose it carefully, knowing exactly how tired your spirit has become, and exactly what your heart has been trying to hold together in silence. Please support our channel. Our work is devoted to bringing happiness into your life and encouraging devotion to God. If you would like to support us, you can donate through Super Thanks. I stop you today because heaven has watched your exhaustion more closely than you realize. Even when you kept moving, even when you smiled where others expected smiles, even when you answered questions as if nothing heavy was happening inside you, heaven still saw what your words never explained. There were moments recently when your body continued through routine while your inner strength quietly weakened. There were mornings when you woke already carrying yesterday's heaviness before the day had even begun. There were hours when simple things felt harder than they should have felt, not because you lacked strength, but because your soul has been carrying more than anyone around you fully understands. I saw the hidden fatigue behind your eyes. I saw the way silence sometimes became safer than explaining what you could not easily put into words. I saw how you kept functioning while inwardly asking why peace has felt harder to hold lately. And because heaven watches not only what people do but also what they endure quietly, I would not allow this day to pass without placing my voice directly where your weariness could meet it. This is why I interrupted your scrolling, because your soul has reached a place where ordinary distraction can no longer heal what deeper truth must touch. You have spent enough time moving quickly past things while your spirit quietly asks for something real. You have looked at many words, heard many voices, passed many messages, but today I chose to stand inside the flow of your movement and call your attention with greater urgency because there are seasons when continuing without pause becomes dangerous for the heart. Not dangerous because of visible disaster, but because when a heart stays tied too long without hearing truth clearly, fear begins to sound convincing, doubt begins to sound reasonable, and silence begins to feel like proof that nothing is changing. I will not let those lies settle deeper inside you without speaking against them. So I interrupted this moment not to burden you, but to rescue your attention before more heaviness builds around thoughts that need my light now, not later. You thought you found this message, but I sent it searching for you. Long before you noticed these words, I knew exactly when your eyes would meet them. Long before your hand paused, I knew the condition of your heart in this exact minute. You did not discover this by chance while moving through random moments. I allowed this word to meet you because I know what has been sitting inside you unspoken. I know what you have recently pushed aside because there was no strength to examine it deeply. I know the questions you keep postponing because answering them alone feels too heavy. I know the places where disappointment has quietly settled, the places where hope has become cautious, the places where you still speak normally while inwardly wondering why certain things remain unresolved. So do not think this arrived because timing happened to align by accident. I sent this searching for you because love does not wait passively when the heart begins to drift beneath silent weight. There have been signs recently that you noticed but did not fully understand. Small moments that touch your thoughts unexpectedly. Sudden memories that return without warning. A certain heaviness when alone. A strange pull toward silence. A sentence you heard somewhere that stayed longer than usual. A feeling that something around you is changing even though nothing obvious has yet changed outside. These were not empty moments. Many of them were gentle signs I allowed near you because I was already trying to draw your attention before today. But often you moved past them because life was loud, because responsibilities were immediate, because tiredness made reflection difficult, because your mind was too occupied with surviving the day to ask why certain moments felt unusually deep. Still, I remained patient because I knew there would come a point when I would need to stop you more clearly and say, "Listen now, because what you have been sensing deserves understanding." This message is not random media placed in front of you to fill empty seconds. This is not ordinary language passing through a crowded day. This is a divine appointment arranged with intention, because I do not speak merely to create emotion. I speak when truth must reach a heart at the right moment. Many things in your day ask for your eyes, but do not know your soul. Many voices compete for attention but carry nothing eternal for your spirit. But my voice does not arrive empty. When I speak, it is because something within you needs alignment, reassurance, correction, healing, or awakening. That is why this moment feels different to you even if you cannot yet explain why. Something inside you recognizes when words carry weight beyond ordinary speech. That quiet pause you felt before continuing, that inner hesitation before moving away, that subtle sense that you should remain here a little longer, that is because your spirit knows this is not empty noise. It knows when truth comes near enough to touch hidden places. I also stopped you because you have recently ignored how much you need stillness. You have continued through thoughts, tasks, worries, conversations, responsibilities, and distractions while quietly postponing what your soul has needed to hear. You kept saying you would think later, rest later, pray later, feel later, understand later. But there are moments when later becomes too crowded, and the heart begins carrying unfinished burdens into every new day. I know you have tried to stay strong by continuing forward, but strength without pause can become another form of hidden exhaustion. That is why I chose not to wait until another day. I chose now because now is when your spirit is listening more deeply than you realize, even if your mind still feels uncertain. Heaven has also seen the nights that looked ordinary from outside but carried hidden struggle inside you. Nights when you were surrounded by silence, yet your thoughts would not settle. Nights when questions returned because distraction had ended. Nights when memories felt louder than they should have. Nights when you felt tired enough to sleep but not peaceful enough to rest. I was there in every one of those hours. I watched every attempt to calm yourself. I heard every inward question you did not say aloud. I remained near when you wondered whether anyone truly understood the weight you were carrying. So when I stop you now, understand that I am not speaking from distance. I am speaking from the same nearness that has already surrounded your hardest quiet moments. There is urgency in my voice because certain thoughts have been growing too strong inside you without enough truth answering them. You have recently allowed some fears to stay longer than they should. You have replayed certain disappointments more than necessary. You have carried certain uncertainties until they began shaping how you view what lies ahead. I know why this happened. Tired hearts often become vulnerable to quiet lies. When answers delay, the mind begins writing explanations that are not always true. When doors remain closed, the heart sometimes assumes abandonment. When peace feels distant, people often believe something is wrong with them rather than recognizing they simply need my voice more clearly again. So I speak now before those thoughts settle deeper than they should. Comment, I live and breathe for you, Christ, if your life rests safely in His hands. I want you to feel the intimacy of this moment because I am not aggressing a crowd in your hearing. I am addressing you directly. I know your pace, your recent disappointments, your private fatigue, your hidden questions, your efforts to remain composed, your moments of sudden sadness, your confusion about why some things still feel unfinished inside you. I know all of it, and because I know all of it, I would not let this day continue without speaking plainly. You are not overlooked. Your exhaustion is not unseen, and your recent heaviness has not happened outside my awareness. This interruption is mercy, not accident. It is love choosing not to remain silent while your heart quietly searches for meaning. It is my hand touching your attention before the day carries you farther away again. It is my voice saying gently but firmly, stay here now, because what I speak next matters more than you understand at this moment. There are truths your heart needs before this day ends, and I have chosen this exact moment because I know exactly when your spirit is ready to hear them. My child, long before anyone on earth learned how to say your name, I had already knew the sound of your life. Before human voices ever welcomed you, before human hands ever held you, before your first breath entered this world, you were already fully present in my knowing. You did not begin when people first noticed you. You did not become real when your family first celebrated your arrival. Your existence did not begin at the moment Earth acknowledged you, because before Earth had language for your presence, heaven already carried the record of who you were. I knew you before the womb became your shelter. I knew you before time formed your first day. I knew you before anyone had expectations for you, before anyone imagined what you would become, before anyone decided what they believed about you. There has never been a moment when you were unknown to me, because before creation ever placed you into history, you already existed inside my intention. Before the womb held you, my thought had already embraced you. Before your body was formed in hidden places, your purpose was already alive before me. Human eyes first saw your body, but my heart had already seen your future. I watched the first hidden movements of your life before your mother understood what she was carrying. I was there before heartbeat, before form, before visible shape, before the quiet mystery of life became visible to anyone on earth. What people later called your beginning was only the moment they finally touched what I had already spoken long before. Even in the secret place where no human eye could yet recognize you, I was already speaking identity over you, already surrounding you with purpose, already knowing the roads you would walk, the tears you would cry, the questions you would one day ask, and the strength you would need in seasons you could not yet imagine. Before family knew you, I knew you. Before anyone chose how to love you, before anyone chose how to misunderstand you, before anyone decided what they expected from you, before human relationships began shaping your early memories, I had already called you mine. Family became part of your earthly story, but family was never the first place your identity was written. People around you may have loved you, guided you, failed you, confused you, encouraged you, or wounded you in different seasons, but none of those things were the first truth about you. The first truth is that before any family history touched your life, I had already established something deeper than inheritance, deeper than human patterns, deeper than everything passed through generations. I placed meaning in you that did not depend on whether others fully understood what they were holding. Before the world knew you, I knew you. Before streets had your footsteps, before schools heard your voice, before society measured you, before labels reached you, before comparisons ever touched your mind, before opinions surrounded your name, I had already looked upon you with complete understanding. The world often teaches people who they are by how they are received, I how they are noticed, I how they are praised, I how they are accepted, but your true identity was never supposed to depend on any of those changing things. The world arrived later. My knowing came first. The world may have offered you confusion at times, but heaven had already recorded clarity before the world ever began speaking loudly around you. Before pain entered your life, I knew what would try to touch you, and still I chose your life with love. Before disappointment ever reached your heart, before betrayal ever taught you caution, before tears ever introduced you to loneliness, before delay ever made you question timing, before rejection ever made you wonder whether you were enough, I had already decided that your life carried value no wound could erase. Pain came later. Struggle came later. Human misunderstanding came later. But none of those later chapters were powerful enough to rewrite what was already spoken first. This is why I tell you now that what hurt you cannot define you more deeply than what I declared before pain ever arrived. Your wounds may explain certain fears, but they do not own your identity. Your hard seasons may explain why some places inside you became quiet, but they do not erase what I established before sorrow learned your name. God wrote destiny before human rejection happened. Before any closed door made you question yourself, before any conversation left you feeling unseen, before any silence from others made you wonder whether you mattered, before anyone failed to understand the tenderness of your heart, destiny was already written. I did not wait to see how others would treat you before deciding your worth. I did not wait to see whether people would approve of you before placing purpose inside you. Destiny was not a reaction to what happened later. It was spoken before later ever existed. There were pages in heaven carrying meaning for your life before earth ever offered confusion. This is why rejection cannot cancel what was written earlier than rejection itself. Before they misunderstood you, I understood you. Before they judged what they had not fully seen, I already knew the hidden places they never touched. Before they formed opinions from incomplete understanding, I knew your motives, your tenderness, your fears, your strengths, your silent endurance, and the private battles behind what others only saw on the surface. There were moments when people interpreted your silence wrongly, when they misunderstood your distance, when they misread your heart because they only saw fragments of you. But I never saw fragments. I always saw the whole story. I understood why certain words hurt you deeply. I understood why certain seasons changed how you responded. I understood why some disappointments remained heavier than others. Even when others thought they knew you enough to define you, I still held the deeper truth untouched by their limited vision. Heaven recorded purpose of earth recorded your birth. Before documents carried your name, before voices announced your arrival, before calendars marked your first day, heaven had already written what earth had not yet discovered. Your name was not first written on earth. It was first held where eternity remembers without error. Your life entered time carrying meaning that was already known above you. That means you are not an accidental person moving through accidental years hoping meaning appears later. Meaning existed before your arrival. Purpose existed before your first cry. Assignment existed before your first memory. Your name was written in heaven where no darkness can erase it. There are days when you question whether mistakes have changed too much, whether weakness has delayed too much, whether lost time has diminished something important. But what heaven records is not erased by the shadows you pass through. Darkness can pressure thoughts, but it cannot rewrite what heaven has established. Failure can wound confidence, but it cannot remove your name from what love already decided. Even now, while you remember moments you wish had unfolded differently, heaven still sees the same name, the same worth, the same calling to remain close, the same life still held carefully. You are not accidental, my child. Not your personality, not your sensitivity, not your depth, not even the parts of yourself you sometimes struggle to explain. Nothing about your existence happened without intention. Even what you think is unusual about you carries meaning you do not yet fully understand. The way your heart feels deeply, the way certain things affect you strongly, the way silence sometimes speaks loudly inside you, the way you notice details others ignore, none of these are random features placed carelessly into your life. I formed you deliberately, with attention deeper than you know. So when you look back and wonder why your path has included certain chapters, remember this first truth before every later chapter: before womb, before family, before world, before pain, before misunderstanding, before rejection, before tears, before struggle, before delay, I had already knew you completely and still called your life forward. Nothing that happened later has surprised me, and nothing that happened later has made me reconsider the value I placed on you from the beginning. You were never random to heaven, never unnoticed in eternity, never unwanted in my heart. You were known before you arrived, loved before you understood love, and written before earth ever learned how to speak your name. My child, the reason your heart has been feeling unusual recently is because something deeper than ordinary emotion has been happening within you, even when you could not find the right words to explain it. You have tried to understand why certain days feel heavier than they should, why simple moments suddenly carry weight, why silence has become louder, why your thoughts sometimes move in circles even when nothing outwardly dramatic has changed. There have been moments when you woke up and could not explain why your spirit already felt tired before the day had fully begun. There have been times when nothing around you looked wrong, yet something within you felt unsettled, as though your heart recognized a movement your mind could not yet interpret. You wondered whether you were simply exhausted, whether life had become too heavy, whether emotions were becoming harder to manage, but I tell you gently that what you are feeling is not only natural weariness. Part of what you are sensing is spiritual heaviness, because when unseen things begin shifting, the heart often notices before understanding arrives. Spiritual heaviness does not always announce itself with clear explanations. Sometimes it comes quietly, resting on your thoughts without visible reason, making ordinary tasks feel strangely difficult, making conversations feel harder than before, making joy seem distant even when you still try to function normally. You have noticed how certain things that once felt easy now require more effort inside you. Even when you continue moving, part of your heart feels as if it is carrying something invisible. You may sit in familiar places and still feel unfamiliar within yourself. You may speak normally and yet inwardly feel as though something deeper remains unsettled. This is because there are moments when the spirit becomes aware that one season is loosening while another is approaching, and that inner awareness often feels heavier before it becomes clear. Your soul senses transitions before your thoughts can name them, and because of that, heaviness often arrives before understanding. There have also been strange emotions passing through you, emotions that do not always seem connected to the exact moment you are living. At times you feel suddenly reflective without knowing why. At times old memories surface unexpectedly, not because you are trying to return to the past, but because something within you is quietly examining what has shaped you. At times you feel sensitive to small things that normally would not stay with you so long. A sentence someone says lingers longer than expected. A silence in a room feels heavier than before. A simple memory returns and touches you more deeply than you thought it would. These are not always signs that something is wrong. Often they are signs that deeper places within you are becoming more awake because I am drawing near to places you usually keep guarded. Inner restlessness has also been speaking inside you. You have felt it in moments when you could not fully settle, even when nothing obvious demanded urgency. You tried to rest, yet your thoughts continued moving. You tried to distract yourself, yet something inside remained unsatisfied. You looked for peace in familiar routines, but some familiar things no longer quiet your heart the way they once did. There are reasons for this. Restlessness is not always a sign of failure or instability. Sometimes it is the first whisper that your spirit knows a transition has begun. Sometimes what once held you comfortably begins to feel too small because I am preparing your heart to recognize that something deeper is unfolding. I allow certain comforts to lose their power so that you begin listening more carefully to what I am stirring beneath the surface. Type heaven is my forever home if your eyes stay fixed on eternity.